Well, hello, hello. How are you? Welcome to our first edition of Office Hours. I'm so happy and so honored to be here to serve you in this way as we push towards our goal of getting 250 folks hired and helping them stay employed in the cannabis industry. I am your Chief Experience Officer, your Chief Explorer here, helping you lead the way and find your pathway into cannabis. So I've got a bit of a presentation for you all today because you all know that I love a good presentation. Let me go ahead and give you the lovely full screen because listen, I work hard for this amazing title, right? So I'm currently at EMC HQ2, which is the Impact Hub here in Baltimore, Maryland. So I'm coming to you live. And if you happen to be watching the replay, be sure to drop a comment when you get an opportunity, letting us know where you're tuning in from. So, we started this idea of office hours after talking to a few different folks in the industry who work in the space around getting folks employed and helping them stay employable. In intentionally, we also started this to kind of help navigate a lot of the questions that come out around cannabis, right? Whether cannabis is something that should be utilized or whatever methods may work for an individual. We're kind of here to help solve those questions. So we got a few questions, thank you so much, from folks who are looking to get some of their information answered. And if when you're watching this live or catching the replay, be sure to drop your questions in the comment section. We will answer them either in the comment section, of course, and also in an upcoming office hours. So let me go ahead and pull up this handy dandy graphic here, just letting you all know where you are, what we'll be doing, and how we'll be answering the questions. So I've got this time frame from 4 to 6. I'll actually be wrapping up within an hour because listen, y'all, I can't be the only person who has Zoom or virtual fatigue. I'm very much a extroverted individual. I love being in front of people. There's something about being in front of the screen sometimes. It could be a lot. So just letting y'all know. So let's go ahead and hop into our Q&A. Like I mentioned, I do have a bit of a presentation for you today, but now don't worry, it's not going to be anything like you had in school, but I know that it will be informative and will help you better get a handle of what this ecosystem looks like and how you can navigate in it. So I'm not in front of my second screen, so give me a second while I pull up a few different things. All right, so this is, if you're wondering where you are, this is EMC Office Hours. It is a live Q&A here on YouTube. We'll be doing these twice a month just to answer questions around cannabis jobs and workforce, different products, and whatever you have questions about. So first things first, I would love to inform you that we are exclusive community membership organization helping to provide pathways to cannabis. Now, when I say exclusive, that means you, your mama, your cousin, your auntie, your friends can all be a part of this community because if you are an advocate for cannabis, if you are a cannabis patient or consumer, or you just want to find a community, this is where you tap in. So these are the pathways that kind of help us get to where we want to be. And as you all know, we've got 6 segments of the ecosystem that we serve. We serve our patients, our professionals, our providers, our industry, our business, and our government folks. So just in case you're wondering about those pathways, if you fall into any of those categories, you absolutely are a part of the community. All right, so I'm just gonna hop right into the questions. This was the first question that we got, and it was a bit of a myth that we've been trying to work on dispelling. But the question was, I can consume all day working in cannabis. Now, cannabis is super sexy right now. It's super hot, right? It's something that everybody wants to be a part of, but it is still a job. So we are here to debunk that myth by letting you know, there is no way that you can be productive by consuming all day while still being an professional in this space, right? It just doesn't work. Folks have tried it. Now I'm not talking about microdosing. I'm talking about folks who see a lot of the celebrity that surrounds cannabis and think that they could just blow trees all day, right? It's still a business, it's still a place of operation. So while you can consume in different aspects, don't think that you can be super baked all day. And I'm not talking about the medical dose that you use to, combat some of the things that have brought you to cannabis as medicine, but just the super blowouts that you see on TV sometimes. That's not gonna work. We got a tweet in from Joni Thomas. Stay fly and high. The question is, what can I do in cannabis and how do I find the jobs? So this is a question that we get often. First things first, let's talk about what you can do in cannabis. First, you can pivot your skills, right? I know that there are a lot of folks out here who are watching this presentation who may be working in a job, who may be necessarily working in a place or not working at all, and you're wondering how to get into cannabis. Well, honey, I'm here to tell you that the skill sets that you're already sitting on is exactly what you need to get into the industry. Let me show you how. All right. So we did a bit of a survey last year where we talked about some of the transitional positions that you can utilize entering into this space. So first things first, if you happen to be, a labs technician, you work in the research space, maybe Johns Hopkins or any of our other institutions here in the state of Maryland, or you may be watching outside of Maryland, you can transition from a lab technician to a production assistant. Usually those are the ones who are watching our cultivation operations from start to finish. They're helping to manage that timeline and making sure that you get the quality medicine to your dispensary, into your hands, whether it's, delivered or it is dispensed. You can definitely impact that pathway just by a click of the button. Next up, do you happen to work overnight at Walmart or Target or any of those other places where you may be stacking the shelves or working through inventory? Well, there are a few different ways you can pivot those skill sets into cannabis. So, one role that we've identified for folks who have the skill set of an inventory stalker is a packing associate. So, if you happen to be looking to transition your skill sets and you're working overnight or even working 9 to 5 or working in some type of space where there is inventory audits, counts, take that skill set, click of a button, apply for that position, connect with someone in the industry, and get in, right? Get in. The third position that we have is, say, every summer or fall, you kind of work on the farm or you work in a garden supply center or something of that sort. You can absolutely take that skill set and pivot it right into a growth specialist. So growth specialists are typically in that role. You are also monitoring that particular cultivar or particular grow from start to finish. You may be helping someone. You may be doing even the propagation, right? I was just doing a live yesterday about positions that may be open, and we saw that Grow West actually has a propagation associate position open. So if you're looking to kind of pivot your skills, take a look into positions like that where you can already use some of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis in cannabis. And of course, if you don't know, let me go ahead and hip you real quick. Cannabis dispensary positions typically are very much similar to your retail jobs, right? So a long time ago, I used to work for Apple in the retail shop. And so I know that there are certain metrics you have to hit. There's customer service standards that you have to abide by. There's a manager who's managing your time, your breaks, your shifts. There are interpersonal relationships that happen. And then there's also some of the benefits of trying some of the products testing them out before they get to the public. They love that inside information. This is a great position for you to pivot into if you happen to be working in the retail space, in the space where you have to manage customer expectations. You can absolutely start off your career as a dispensary agent or bud tender or patient's care associate. The titles are endless, but at the end of the day, you are our front line. You are the people who have the knowledge, who are able to tell us whether or not that batch of X strain, I'm not putting no names out there, is good or not, right? You are the people that we look up to. So check it out. And of course, on that retail line of sorts, if you are also looking to pivot from your floor leader position, you can take those skills and transition them into a dispensary manager position. I'll be showing you some positions later where there's actually a few of them open. So if you're looking to, I guess, manage in a different way, take a look at some of the managerial positions that are in the cannabis space. And last, but certainly not least, of course, if you happen to be driving Uber Eats, DoorDash, or any of Seamless, or any of those other ways of getting the food to you, because in the pandemic, those services soared tenfold, 50-fold maybe. You can take your food delivery driving position part-time, a couple hours a week, and transition that into secure transportation. So there are a lot of dispensaries that are offering either in-house delivery or they're working with delivery partners. Find a pathway to get to that company or organization. Let them know about your skill sets, show them some of the work that you've already been doing, and you absolutely can transition from delivering food or delivering Amazon packages, okay, or Target, shout to ship, and deliver cannabis. I'm gonna take a sip. While I take a sip, I want you all to take a look at these few titles to really help build your library as you transition into a cannabis career, into the cannabis career workforce. These actually, when people ask me where should I start, what should I read outside of our title, Get in Gear, Cannabis Careers in Maryland, you can also grab these four titles. Find it at your local library, purchase them off of a local or national bookseller's website. The Leafly Guide to Cannabis is a great way to kind of understand the history and the dynamics. You've got Cannabis Pharmacy, which really gets into the science behind cannabis. You have the Cannabis Manifesto, which I absolutely believe is required reading for anyone who is passionate about cannabis and looking to make an impact. And then, of course, finding different ways to consume cannabis. Chef Andrea Drummer out of California published a book a few years ago called Cannabis Cuisine. If you're looking for some dope recipes to stretch your meds or try something different, check that title out. So, as we finish up this segment around where are the jobs, here are the jobs, right? So, the first two places you can find jobs in cannabis are Indeed and LinkedIn. Now, a lot of folks will say, well, I don't necessarily want to, or I don't really know how. Hey, listen, these are two tools that you need to already be looped into if you're trying to pivot into cannabis. The LinkedIn, no doubt, which is this blue icon here, because I realize Indeed and the in LinkedIn, Indeed, those are two really great places to find jobs. But also, they are really influential in making sure that you understand what's happening in the industry. LinkedIn is where I constantly find out information about hires, fires, and acquisitions. If anybody's been paying attention to the news lately, Peloton, which is a beloved company that kind of blew up during the pandemic, just laid off 2,800, 3,000 employees and replaced their CEO. Now, granted, a couple of months ago, if you were looking for a role, you would have found out about those hires, you would have found out about those fires, or even campaign transitions through LinkedIn. So I advise when you're looking for a gig, look at LinkedIn first, follow the company that you're looking at, whether it's Maryland Cannabis or anything like that, or check out LinkedIn to see what's been updated, over the last couple of weeks. Y'all, where are the jobs? Now, I'm not showing you this picture for clout. I'm showing you something that I talk about in most, if not all of our trainings that we hold here at Explore Maryland Cannabis, which is your network is your network. Okay. I've taken the last 2 years to really build my network. And why I know that there is a huge call for employment in this industry is because I visit dispensaries like the Living Room, Storehouse. We host, engaging in informational events like our sunset sessions, like our workforce trainings. And then also some of my best colleagues are actually employed in the industry. So we get that inside look as to what's going on, where the transition is happening, and, honestly, where we should be looking. So find your people, hold them close, and also ask the questions that, you really want to answer, which is your job hiring? Is your job really hiring? And do you like your job? Because there are a lot of people who are in cannabis that don't really like their jobs. And that's okay. That is just fine. As I'm talking about job transition, I want to go ahead and pause and pull up the next piece of information I kind of want to show you around finding your cannabis job. So let's see if y'all can see that. Great. This here is LinkedIn, right? If you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. If you're looking for a pathway, we've got a training that we host and that we've hosted often about LinkedIn and the power of LinkedIn. So some of the filters on LinkedIn aren't as easily navigatable as I'd like. But when you dial down cannabis in the job section, which is this little briefcase here, I just broke it down from jobs to company. Once I found the jobs, I narrowed it down to the companies. As you can see, there are a few when you type in cannabis companies that you can see, but I know for certain that Curio Wellness, Holistic Industries, and Verano all have licenses here in the state of Maryland. So I'm going to look and see what they've got going on. I use Baltimore, Maryland because that's where our headquarters is, and it's easier to get a pinpoint demographic rather than just putting Maryland. So as you can see, there are 41 results that are up here. Curio actually just took a visit to their dispensary for the first time this year. They are doing some very intentional hiring. So a lot of these positions are for looking for a national edibles lead. Looks like that's remote, folks. Holistic Industries is also looking for folks to fill in positions. So as you can see, not only are there local positions, whether they're on site or national positions, which are remote, you can take a look and see where your skill set lies based on what folks are looking for. So that is the LinkedIn hack per se, and we teach a lot more of those hacks in our training. So be sure when you see the LinkedIn training pop up, hop on it. Let me go back to the presentation here. Like I mentioned, I say this a lot in our presentations. Your network is your net worth, right? You want to make sure that the people that you surround yourself around are able to pour back into you. All right. The second question that we received was, now, why should I care about legislative session? And to be honest, I grew up in a very aware society. So a lot of like me digging into legislative session and politics, that just comes innate. But I realized that might not necessarily be the case for everyone. So when I got this question, I was like, so why should people care about legislative session? Well, let's start off by taking a look at legislative session, right? There are currently, and we do this Bills Watch every Friday at 11 o'clock. If you're free, check us out Fridays at 11 on YouTube, where we're streaming now. We talk more about legislative session, which we will dive deep into this Friday. But I just wanted to cover this really quickly. As of Tuesday, there are 14 bills that have been introduced in the General Assembly. Now, a lot of these bills are bills that have been previously What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, did my presentation drop? There we go. They are bills that here we go. Hold on. I think I lost my presentation, y'all. There we go. Let me just do this. They are bills that were previously introduced in different sessions. They've been reworked in a lot of different places. And so from those 14 bills, you can definitely see that I'm not sure if folks are talking to the patients. I'm not sure if folks are talking to the public, but one thing I am sure of is we got some work to do. So let me see if I can pull this back up, larger screen here. I love Canva, by the way. It's a great way to get your presentations going. All right, cool. So this may be a little hard to see, but I'm sure you will be able to see it. Why is my screen doing this? Hold on, y'all. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so I'm sure that on Friday you'll get an opportunity to hear more as we talk about and break these bills down. But like I said, there are 14 bills that have been presented just within the almost 31 days that we've been in session. Might be more than that, actually. I think we just hit a month today or within this week. So these 14 bills, you've got Delegate Clippinger, you've got Delegate Wilkins. There are just so many different ones around firearms, workman's comp. If you've been following this, the bill tracking that we've been doing over the last few years, a lot of these bills, they're not new, y'all. They're not new. And I think this is the year that we'll be getting a lot of traction. Like I mentioned, these are the House bills. There's currently 5 House bills with one that has been cross-filed in the Senate. And then we've got a ton of Senate bills, which, we'll talk more about on Friday. But you can see there, Senator Young, that's the cross-filed bill. We've got Senator Patterson. We've got State Senator Jill Carter, who's introduced legislation and reparations for the failed war on drugs. So we'll be diving deep into those bills on Friday. So if you want to know more, we'll see you Friday at 11 o'clock. Don't even worry about it. You should be up to date on this because these impact you now and in the future. So whether there's an ownership limitation exemption for license holders, how that affects license holders when adult use comes into play is something that we should all be thinking about, right? If a bill has home cultivation in it, right? If you believe that patients should have the power to cultivate their own cannabis, there's a bill here that explicitly bars that, right? And then there's one that introduces that model. So you need to know, because who knows where you'll be in your cannabis journey 1 to 3 to 5 years from now. So pay attention. And of course, you can always tap in with us. We'll have the deets. That's the last bill there. Dispensaries operation at multiple locations. So I'm excited to see these come into play. A lot of them were just introduced, so there's not quite hearings on the Senate side just yet. Crossover day is in a few weeks, so we've got time. But I will tell you this, and I'll tell you this again on Friday. If you are interested in providing testimony of any sort, especially for the bill here, this first one, HB 001, introduced by Delegate Clippinger, the constitutional amendment around adult use and possession. That hearing is February 14th at 10 a.m. And I am absolutely sure there is a sign-up cutoff that we'll make sure that we send out to our audience and public so they know how to submit their comments. All right, so the second question that we've gotten, which actually I think this might be the third question, apologies. I have a business idea. Where should I start? Well, honey, you should start with us. Why? Because we are building a business out loud and in public, but also start with that library. We've got a few different workshops and webinars coming up. We've got one coming up on February 22nd around preparing your cannabis business for adult use. We'll be talking a bit about what adult use could look like in Maryland, what your business or businesses should be prepared for. And if you have an idea or you're looking for an idea, you can absolutely tune in that day because we'll be talking. This is a 4-part series that we'll continue throughout the year just in case you missed it. But we'll be kicking it off with preparing your cannabis business for adult use. We hope to see y'all there. If you're also looking to level up your cannabis based skills, we've got a boot camp coming up. If you're looking to rise to the top, we've got our Rise to the Top Cannabis Workforce Boot Camp. It's February 26th from 11 to 2. You want to get in and make an impact, you need to be here at this boot camp. Right now, we're at early bird, and I think that's about $30. So, come on in. You get a lot of value for the day, and we look forward to really helping you stand out amongst the crowd. So, y'all, I think I think that is it. Wow. All right. So 30 minutes cleared that really well. I hope that you all learned a little bit. I hope that you've gotten your questions answered. For those who asked questions, thank you so much. Sometimes I feel like I be talking out into the wind or talking to our members, which is great. But I also want to see what's going on in the community. One of the founders here at the Impact Hub Baltimore was asking me, how is it, the virtual environment going? And to be honest, y'all, we're taking the first 2 months to really build out our foundation for 2022 because we got big goals and some big events that we want to execute. So I love the fact that we're able to kind of take a step back and breathe, but I miss, being in front of folks and that human interaction. So I'm looking forward to when I can see all of you in person or checking us out virtually in our membership crew. We'd love to have you. But until the next office hours, which let me go ahead and pull that up because why? The editor needs to know where to stop. Until the next office hours, I hope that we get an opportunity to talk about what your plans are for cannabis because it's super important to be a part of this industry, especially if you are invested and passionate. So until then, I will see you all on February 19th from 10 to 12. We'll be a little bit earlier, so we'll do a little bit of a brunch. This is more like a happy hour. Cheers. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.